am Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
Rambling Reviewers.
And
We
today
are
we're looking at
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
yes, which I saw a while ago, and let's see how much I can remember.
So, to start off with, it was the dawn of the third age of mankind. 10 years after the Earth-Minbari War. Okay, no, that's something.
Which, by the way, I've started watching, so I can
Yes.
finally know everything you're talking about.
Thank you. And you can finally know of the intricate mystery that is Swedish meatballs.
Yay! That's totally the whole point of Babylon 5.
No, but it is funny. Anyways, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a film, and it was the first Harry Potter-based film,
Not to feature Harry Potter.
or based off of a book from Harry Potter. I mean,
Well,
okay,
technically based off of that spin-off book that was all of 20 pages long.
okay, yes, that is true, but it wasn't. But that book was basically a list of this is this animal, this is this
That's
animal.
true, yeah. It was a completely new storyline. Yeah.
It was a completely new story, and I have mixed feelings about this one.
Oh, yeah?
Now, I know this is normally the part where I list off some of the positives, and then list off some of the negatives, getting increasingly angry as I do so. Because, let's be honest, that's my role in this show.
Hey, I mean, if it's genuine feelings, whatever they are, go ahead.
Okay, let's... I liked this film... When it was good, it was good. But when it wasn't good, it was at best just okay.
So,
Okay.
we've seen worse before.
Okay, well, yes, but...
Okay, so what do you like?
Okay, the story starts off with Newt Scamander, who is author of the book Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as he exits into New York, which... This is actually something really interesting for a lot of Harry Potter fans, but that also comes into part of why I didn't like the film as much. I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, it's emblematic of a different problem of something I didn't like. Okay, imagine you're watching Kino's Journey, and then Kino uses the Kamehameha to destroy a country that she doesn't like, and it's rendered in, like, super high definition, and the country is exploding in flames, and it's done to heavy metal music. Now, you might think that's awesome, but at the same time, it doesn't Imagine if that was something that the reboot of Kino's Journey kept doing.
I'm imagining someone doing fan art of that scenario for some reason. That'd be the weirdest thing.
In this adaptation of Kino's Journey, Kino has been replaced by Torg.
What?
Oh god, I gotta show you Torg videos.
Okay.
He's insane and
So,
stupid.
what? The idea here is, though, that New York makes it all different, and that's a problem?
No, it's... Part of the appeal of this movie is that I think it leans a little too heavily on the thought that you have seen and digested and have memorized all the little details about Harry Potter, whereas if you're not as familiar with Harry Potter mythos, you might not recognize the significance of some of this, and it doesn't work as well.
Okay, so that's less of Newt suddenly does a Kamehameha, and more of Newt makes references to stuff that you might not know what it is.
Right, except
Just applying the metaphor there.
Except that it's kind of... You need to read some of the backstory in order to understand the book. I mean, understand the film. Like that book, the 20-page book, that contains details that explain stuff about these creatures that doesn't get mentioned here.
Well, I don't think I've glanced at the book and not actually read it, and I was able to follow along with what the creatures were up to during the movie. I am aware of who Grindelwald is, so when that came in at the end, it was like, Grindelwald, I know that guy. But if I hadn't known, okay, that's the bad guy still. We found him. I mean, that's reasonable.
I don't know. I'm just repeating this because I watched this with my parents,
Ha.
and they were not as diligent about the Harry Potter fandom as I was in the intervening years between reading the last book and watching the last movie, And now, so they were confused by a bunch of stuff.
Can you remember the details?
No.
All right. Well.
But neither could they, which was the problem. Yeah, like, I mean, if you know Harry Potter and you like Harry Potter, you'll get a ton of details that just casual moviegoers wouldn't understand. Like
Probably.
the significance of what happens when, God, what are the characters' names?
Well, we had Newt, we had Tina Goldstein.
Next.
Kowalski, Queenie. Who are you looking for?
No, Carmen, no. Percival Graves. When Percy gives that thing to what was his name? The kid who was abused and had the terrible haircut, and whose mom was like super anti-witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
He gives him a little medallion. But like, I was freaking the hell out when I saw that scene, because I knew that was Grindelwald's symbol, the symbol of the Deathly Hallows, meaning that Percival was, without a doubt, a Grindelwald supporter.
And thus a bad guy.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Problem is that Mom and Dad didn't get that, and had to be explained the significance of that particular symbol. Like, that was one of the questions they asked. What was the significance of that symbol he was giving around? Giving around.
Giving around.
Okay, let's start at the beginning and try to analyze it from there. Newt Scamander comes to America, and like I said, this is kind of exciting for people like me who America never really got mentioned much in the world of Harry Potter. At best, it was that place over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I got it mentioned even once. I remember them going to, like, Egypt and stuff, but nobody went to New York.
Yeah, which kind of weird considering how massive New York is, and Egypt is not.
Well, anyway.
Like, I mean, seriously, it had population of, like, 10 million people back when Harry Potter series was going on. You'd think that there would be a larger proportion of people who were magical there than Egypt. I mean, granted, they went to Egypt to go see the tombs and stuff, but seriously. Also, Rowling seems to have retconned something in between writing the fourth Harry Potter book, where she introduced the Salem Institute of Witchcraft it was a side mention at the Quidditch World Cup. But now Salem doesn't exist, and there's an American school called Ilvermorny.
Did they say Salem doesn't exist? Maybe there's two schools.
No, she pretty conclusively said the American school is Ilvermorny. Also, there's only 5 schools of magic in the entire world.
Yeah, one per nation, apparently.
Yes, all 5 nations.
None of the other nations exist yet. I don't know.
I mean, seriously, everyone just kind of... If you don't live in Europe, you're kind of fucked when it comes to magical education, because you have Durmstrang, which is implied to be in a Soviet bloc nation, or in the... No, not the middle... Geez, I can't remember what it was called. Like, the Balkan states, that's it. Either the Soviet Union or the Balkan states. You have Beauxbatons, which is in France, or Hogwarts, which is in England. And there's 2 schools for the entire rest of the world, and that means for North and South America, you have Ilvermorny. That's it. For all of Asia, Africa, and Australia, which I remind you contains 1/3 of the population of the human race, with China and India having both 1 billion plus people, you have 1 school. How the hell does that work? Is each classroom a TARDIS? Okay, we have a class of 400,000 students today.
Yeah, but J.K. Rowling has never been good at math.
No.
Not even, like, within Hogwarts. If you count up the number of kids who are apparently attending, it's a really small class for the only school in the country.
Yeah, and...
so forth and so on.
Yeah, she's, like, said there's less than 10,000 wizards in all of England, and that's just insane.
And if there are less than 10,000, then I don't think all the shops in Diagon Alley can manage to keep themselves afloat.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't really have... there's no real excuse for the purebloods to not know about Muggle stuff, considering there's only, like, 10,000 people in your culture. You figure they'd have to go out for, like, a Starbucks or or go to a grocery store or something.
They have magic Starbucks or something. I don't know. The separation between wizards and muggles has never actually made sense. You just accept it because it makes it into more of a, oh, it might be true type of feeling. You know, one of those. It's just like the borrowers. You know, the whole idea of tiny people that, like, secretly take away your stuff. In real life, at least one member of that species is going to bother making contact with the rest of us.
Yeah.
I don't care how much the rest of you want to be secretive. There's going to be one guy that goes like, hey, I'm down here! And, like, spoils the whole thing.
Yeah. Besides, I never really liked Hagrid's explanation of why they didn't make contact with wizards. Well, blimey, Harry, why do you think we stay hidden? People be wanting magic solutions for everything. Well, fuck you too, Hagrid. Cancerous curio!
Or, I mean, just imagine all the money you can make just charging people to fix their problems with magic. It's not...
Yeah, dude. Hagrid's a communist. It's the only explanation that makes sense. This film actually provides a better reason. Muggles are frequently afraid of witchcraft.
Yeah, if only we had bothered to introduce ourselves 5 centuries ago, we might have had better relations by now.
Yeah, which, I mean, makes sense. Even, like, the light-sided people in the Harry Potter books were kind of dicks to Muggles. How many times did they wipe people's memories?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, seriously.
Though, granted, they also did that to other wizards, so...
I mean, okay, yes. It's still kind of creepy, though.
It is creepy!
I mean, and remember when the Weasleys picked Harry up from the Dursleys and blew apart their living room? And Mr. Weasley's just like, well, you have a very nice house. Oh, I see your electric heater has a plug. I collect plugs. While completely ignoring the fact that Vernon Dursley looks like he's about to get a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
And that guy's supposed to be studying Muggles, and somehow he's, like, completely unaware of how... Like, he shouts through a telephone at one point, right?
That was Ron who did that.
Oh, was that Ron? Okay.
But still, that still doesn't look good for Mr. Weasley that he doesn't know how that works. If his son can't ask his father and get an explanation, here is how a phone works.
Right, it's there for comedic effect. It doesn't have to make any sense.
I mean...
It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't make any sense. Neither does Quidditch, for that matter. A game that was explicitly designed to make Harry look cool. If you think about it.
I mean...
Honestly, you invented it. We need a game on broomsticks. We need a game where Harry can do something cool and win enough points to win the whole game and end the game at that exact same instant so he doesn't stand around for 10 minutes waiting for the end of the clock, right? So, look, as soon as this one guy, and it can only be Harry, catches the snitch, you get 150 points and you win the game. The end.
I do like how they averted that in the 4th Harry Potter book, where Victor Crumb got the snitch, but they lost.
Right, they did change that eventually. They mentioned tournament scoring is different, but, like... Just from the perspective of the first book, you're like, you invented this to make Harry look cool, didn't you?
I never thought about that, actually.
Yeah.
But, like,
I mean, it still it's fun. It's, you know, just in the background.
I mean, there's real-life Quidditch tournaments that go on some college campuses.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it on the ground, obviously.
Yeah.
Until we invent those jetpacks.
Yeah.
But, okay, this movie, okay, so Newt comes into the country, and he's hiding all of his magic stuff, and... he's looking for magic creatures, and
he's got one in particular that he wants to really smuggle in out to, like, Utah or something.
Yeah, which, you know, why the hell did you come here and then not immediately head to the train station?
I don't know. Did something happen in the middle that I forgot? It's been a while since I saw this.
Admittedly, I don't have the best memories, but
well, he gets involved with Kowalski and all this.
Okay, I like Kowalski.
Yeah, he was fun.
He is legitimately the first completely non-magical, sympathetic Muggle we meet in the entire series.
Huh. Like, by implication, Hermione's parents are nice people, but we never really meet them, do we?
Right. Okay. Who's a character we give a shit about?
Yes. They actually get involved. Yeah, no, because the only other Muggle... I mean, do Squibs count as Muggles?
No, they don't.
Well, the only other
Muggle
that we know is like the Dursleys and nobody...
I mean, yeah, there's the campsite keeper, but they wiped his mind every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that doesn't count as a full-on character.
Yeah, no. But yeah, he's... I don't know.
So anyway, Kowalski is sympathetic, and that's fun. And I believe they said in the Honest Trailers bit, like Kowalski, who steals the movie just by reacting to stuff. And he does. He does a perfect face for like, what is going on?
So then they bump into Tina, who sees them catches Newt casting spells and stuff inside of a bank.
Yeah, because Kowalski wants a loan to open up a bakery.
Oh right, because Newt's shitty briefcase breaks, and like a Niffler gets out, and Nifflers were introduced in the fourth Harry Potter. We keep mentioning that book a lot. It is a good one. And they are attracted to shiny objects. They're like magpies. I don't recall them having access to extra-dimensional TARDIS technology in their stomach, but you know what? I'm okay with this. Because this Niffler is adorable, and I love the character. And so the Niffler runs into the bank, Newt's doing all sorts of magical shenanigans. Tina tries to arrest Newt for not mind-wiping Kowalski, who really gets a shit deal out of the bank, you know. He made some really good-looking pastries, and the bank is like, dude, no, we're not funding you.
Sadly, this is fairly realistic.
Okay, admittedly, it could be because Kowalski didn't have something as collateral for the bank, which, okay, that's a little better, but...
Anyway, we feel bad for Kowalski.
When I was in South Carolina, I walked into an artisanal beard store.
Artisanal beards?
Well, I mean, like, products for making your beard look silky and smooth and trimming it the right way. So I don't really give that this guy was rejected just because, you know, there's people who have bakeries already. If a guy can get a store for making beards look pretty on a major area where shopping happens, I don't buy that this guy was rejected because he made delicious looking pastries.
Maybe they just were being jerks that day. I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, Kowalski, by the way, switches briefcases with Newt accidentally because that's the kind of guy Kowalski is. Bad things happen around him. Meanwhile, earlier in the story, we see... What was the character's name? Who's the guy who gets bullied by his mother?
Oh, that kid is named Credence. Credence Barebone.
Credence Barebone, who is the adoptive son character of this woman who says that witches and wizards are among us and they're going to destroy us.
Yes, I'm sorry. Mary Lou Barebone is the evil lady who's all bigoted against witches and wizards.
Although it's kind of hard to disprove their point given how often muggles are treated like shit by wizards, as I said earlier.
I mean, casually wiping your memory is creepy, but it's not like, you know, they're murdering people.
Which they did.
Which they, well, not most wizards go around murdering people.
Yeah, but still.
Okay.
I mean, who wants to bet that Dudley turns up like she does? Because he was given a pig's tail, and the Weasley twins tricked him into eating Tongue toffee, which made his tongue grow to be 4 feet long.
Yeah, that would be really creepy if that happened.
And, like, weren't they forced from their house when Harry was 11 because wizards didn't know how to take no for an answer? Seriously. Vernon says, no, we don't want him going to the school. Hagrid should have accepted that since the Dursleys, I mean, they may have been assholes, they were Harry's legal guardians.
I'm going to side with Harry's right to go to a place that actually gives a damn about him and not stay with these terrible people.
Okay, yes, but legally, the Dursleys were in the right.
Oh, well.
I mean,
magic
it's just an
laws
interest.
Yeah, I mean, but...
And how do magic laws work anyway? Do they supersede normal laws?
I mean, effectively, because they've got magic wands, so what are you going to do about it?
Wow. Wow, Voldemort... No wonder Voldemort got so many supporters. This is a horrible place.
For the most part, they leave Muggles alone, but yeah, when it comes to, like, an interaction, and apparently magic laws supersede a little bit.
So Mary Lou, or what it was?
Mary Lou is that bigoted lady.
Wow, I was joking.
Mary Lou.
Yeah, Mary Lou is super against witches and wizards, so she goes around talking to people, handing out pamphlets, making Credence hand out pamphlets, but she's also running a soup kitchen in, like, the early 20s, early 30s.
If that was an orphanage.
Oh.
Because there was like that one orphan girl that uses the red herring to make you think like she's gonna be the big powerful witch. Yeah, there needs to be a generic term for witches and wizards.
Yeah.
Non-muggle.
Magical.
Madge. Yeah.
Oh, we find out that Americans have a name for muggles. No Madge.
That's cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, muggle doesn't... I never got where muggle came from. Oh, well. So Tina takes Newt to the MACUSA, the Magical Congress of the United States, which for some reason isn't in Washington, but is instead in New York.
To be fair, they once, at the beginning of the country, considered putting the capital city in New York.
Okay.
It's the biggest city they had. They thought maybe that was a good idea.
Yeah, but that was only for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then they moved it to Washington, D.C. for the next 200.
Yes, okay. The magical community is a little behind the times on that one.
And yet, weirdly, they're not. I mean, they're not sexist or racist, because women... The president of the magical community in America is a black woman.
That's cool.
I mean, that's very cool. But, like, they still have the death penalty, so I don't really know what the hell about anything.
I mean, you're looking at a parallel culture that developed along different lines. It's kind of neat that in some ways they're more what we would call progressive, and in some ways not so much.
Good point. I mean, anyways, Tina brings in Newt and says, this guy brought in magical creatures, and he violated all of this stuff, and he was casting spells in front of a muggle. And they just kind of brush her off, which I'm like, really? You could have arrested this guy and had his ass deported. We wouldn't have this movie.
She did arrest him. But
Yeah.
then he gets away because he's got the wrong suitcase, and there's no evidence to charge him with. I know this because I'm reading Wikipedia right now.
Oh. Still, he was arrested by an Auror for performing magic. You'd think that would carry some weight.
Yeah, I forget exactly what they said or how he got away with it.
And don't wizards have the technology to read memories? Can't they just read her memories and show him casting spells and shit?
Oh, yeah, that would... Yeah. Well.
Don't they have truth serum, veritas serum?
Yeah, they have it to the extent that the plot needs it, and then they kind of don't, because, like, someone was pointing out, situations in with a truth serum would have clarified things a lot, and JK in some interview was like, oh, but there are ways to, like, defend yourself against that advance.
But that's not what she said about it. It was explicitly, when Snape introduced it, he said, this is veritas serum, it is a perfect truth serum, there is no way around this.
Yep.
And if you fuck up, I will dump this into your pumpkin juice and make you spill all of your deepest secrets in front of the whole school. By the way, yeah, fuck Snape. You don't say that to children who are under your care.
No, you don't say that. I agree. But in general, Harry Potter world has got a thing of ultimate stuff always has like a non-ultimate exception clause to it. Harry had that one knife that could open any door except that one door that just melted it. Or how about the Elder Wand is unbeatable, except it's been beaten several times. The perfect invisibility cloak is perfect, except Mad-Eye Moody can see through it for some reason. And the Resurrection Stone doesn't actually resurrect anybody. So if you think about it, nothing adds up to the way it was advertised.
Oh, God.
In fact,
but they don't even, the fact that they don't even consider this stuff.
Yeah, they don't even consider it. You're right.
Okay, I admit, there might be ways around, like, truth serum and, legilimency, which I always called legomancy, legilimency.
Legomancy. The power to control Legos.
Which, admittedly, that would be kind of a cool power.
They had that in the Lego movie. They didn't call it that. Anyway.
Yes. Anyways, okay. I can buy that they might not use it because XYZ reason. This guy might have, like, a natural resistance to that. This guy might be an occlumens.
We just ran out of truth serum this week or something.
Well,
if it's that hard to make, I don't know.
Admittedly, yes, it is like a very difficult potion to make. The fact that they didn't even consider those options, though, is just kind of annoying because we know that these things exist, so why aren't we using them?
So, to your earlier comment about if you know the Harry Potter world, you get the movie better. At the same time, though, you can point out more holes in it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Okay, so,
But they have that even in the regular books. What's the whole deal with wand loyalty suddenly existing as of book 7 when it has never existed before?
yeah, that was
how easy would it be to just be like, only the Elder Wand has wand loyalty and not any of the other wands? The end. Anyway. Okay,
yeah, and even the way that they said the Elder Wand works doesn't make any sense, because in the story of the three brothers, the guy wasn't beaten in a duel, which is how wand loyalty is transferred in the Harry Potter universe. He was murdered in his sleep, and then the next guy took the Elder Wand.
So the wand has never been loyal to anyone else ever. The end.
Which, again...
Which makes no sense, because it's supposed to be loyal to specific people. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so anyways... then Newt eventually somehow tracks down Kowalski, and
they end up at the apartment with Tina and Queenie.
Queenie is a mind reader. And see, the way that Queenie uses her legitimacy, yeah, that's why we have the fucking Psychor in Babylon 5. Because the way that Psychor was supposed to work is it makes sure that telepaths don't abuse their powers. And Queenie's just like, oh, hi! Let me tell you all of your deepest secrets to everyone in the fucking world. I guarantee you, Queenie would be dead in the real world. I guarantee it.
Well, yeah, that's... Try not to read people's minds. People of the future.
I mean, just...
Watching this.
The Wizarding World has a really weird set of things about the mind. It's apparently, the unforgivable curses, the worst of which is Avada Kedavra. It murders you, and murder is the worst crime of all. It wounds the soul.
And kills the body while you're at it.
Well, no, it wounds the soul of the person who murders. Because in the earlier books, J.K. Rowling apparently says out loud through the characters, murder is the worst crime because it causes your soul to be wounded.
Okay.
But apparently, the mind diddle around with that all you want. Draco Malfoy can keep Madame Rosmerita under the Imperious Curse for the better part of a year. He gets a redemption arc. But as long as he didn't kill anyone, because God forbid we know that having an attractive woman under your mental dominion for the better part of a year couldn't possibly lead to you doing anything wrong.
Jeez, I hadn't considered that. Well, the full extent of that angle.
Also, love potions just get really creepy when you consider that. Because they're basically date rape drugs. And what's worse, it's canon that because Voldemort was conceived under the effect of a love potion, he can't feel empathy for anyone. So anytime you're using a love potion, you're potentially creating another Voldemort. And they just sell this stuff.
Jeez, I didn't know that bit about his conception.
Yeah. It's creepy, man. I don't want to live in the Wizarding World. Take me to somewhere safe, like Babylon 5 or Reach, as the Covenant is glassing it. I would consider myself safer as the Covenant is approaching the planet than I would for 5 minutes in the Harry Potter universe, because at least I know they wouldn't rape my mind. The Covenant are disturbingly honest about what they want. We want to kill you. We are very passionate about killing you. None of this, we erase parts of your brain bits. God.
I mean, yeah, honestly, if you're in a society where people can erase memories and mess with stuff, that leads to all sorts of dystopian possibilities weirdly fast. So, yeah, don't do that if you can help it.
Yeah, so Queenie apparently... And then Queenie does something really kind of shocking for this movie, because she's like, oh, I can make this dish. And then she waves her wand, and she makes it better than Jacob ever could. Which is just kind of, well, fuck you too, lady. Not only can you rape my mind, you can just do my job better than I can by waving your stick. Thanks. That's a good shot to the ego.
No.
Oh, and don't worry about this. You will remember, we're planning in front of you to wipe your mind.
Yeah, that's... I'm glad he's back for the sequel, so apparently they got his mind back.
Yeah, anyways.
Oh, by the way, Queenie and Kowalski like each other, but it's forbidden to marry a no-mage.
Which, that doesn't make sense either, given how ridiculously low wizarding populations are. Because that would lead to inbreeding really fast.
Again, JK does not do math.
No, she does not. Also, just in general, mixing populations is generally considered advisable for the betterment of a species. It's why mutts are generally much healthier than purebred dogs.
Yes, and also, let's try not to compare humans to dogs. I'm sure we'll get someone mad at us.
Look,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Hey, dogs don't rape people's minds.
That is
that
true.
We know of. That we know of.
No.
Secret dog psychic cabal, please don't take me in the night.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but apparently, earlier when Newt's case opened, a whole bunch of magical creatures got out. So Jacob goes down into Newt's TARDIS box thing.
Yeah,
This is another problem I have with the movie. It's that there's a lot of magical creatures and stuff that I don't really care about. They're pretty and stuff, but it's the old problem with science fiction movies that as soon as we got CGI and make things look pretty that we can't do with practical special effects, except we can, and they would look way better and more convincing, we have to default to, well, we can't think of a good plot. Let's put some pretty things on the screen.
I know what you mean. Sometimes the need for pretty effects distracts us from actually making a plot, but I mean the plot was still decent.
I mean, it felt like a lot of it was CGI animals. I mean,
we had some fun with the animals, but yeah,
it just felt like the weaker part of the story.
Okay.
Then Newt and Jacob go out, and they go to the zoo because there's a magic rhino there who can make things explode with it. Oh, an erumpent. Oh my god. Yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, it's an erumpent. It makes things explode with its horn, and they managed to get it inside the box by Newt doing the stupidest dance I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was funny.
It was funny, but they also see something called an obscurial, or obscurus. But it's apparently like the dark essence of someone who's had their magic suppressed their whole life and told they're a monster.
Yeah, it's basically the magical version of self-hatred, and now it's magic, and it will kill things.
Yeah, why? Why is this a problem? I mean...
Why is it a problem? It kills things. What do you mean?
No, I mean, why is this a thing in universe? You'd think that this would be like day one of... In fact, why don't they send letters out to parents? Dear sir or madam, we have detected that you are giving birth to a magical child. Here is a reason why you don't do that. Don't suppress their magical abilities. And then show them a video of this thing blowing up New York.
You know, I wouldn't put it past them that they freaking sent Credence's mom a thing, and being the bigot that she is, she just went, "Witches are evil!" and got some pitchforks and ran around for an hour.
We actually learned that the reason Tina isn't much respected in the MACUSA is because she did try to get Credence out, but failed, and everyone's mind got wiped in the process.
Oh. I ironically forgot about that part.
Yeah. So Credence has had this back plot in the background where it turns out that this guy, Percy, has been running around looking for an obscurial, like the one that Newt has in his box. And he wants to use it for something, or make sure that it's not used for something.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to use it for evil purposes. Somehow.
Yes, but I'm trying to not spoil it just yet. So, but he's looking for it, and he's having Credence do this looking because he thinks that it's going to be in this one place.
Well, he had a vision that it was somehow associated with Credence. Guess what?
Yeah, it was Credence.
Yeah, but they do this red herring bit where they try to make you think it's this other creepy girl.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Credence's family people go to the major newspaper and they're like, "We'd like to print this article about how witches are real and they're lurking behind every corner." Okay? And for some reason they kind of go with this, which I'm like, wow, really?
That newspaper will print anything that pays. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I know Dewey Defeats Truman was a thing, but at the same time, you'd think that they'd have better standards. I mean, admittedly, they do start running with the story when a guy is obviously murdered on stage through the Obscurial, which they can't see. So they're basically watching a guy get thrown around by a rag doll by an invisible monster.
Yeah, see, in that setting, people getting all worried about witches might make more sense.
Exactly. To be honest, I find the Obscurial plot to be the stronger of the two stories going on, which is why I seem to be devoting more attention to it when I'm not angrily ranting about Harry Potter's morality. Yeah, so, anyways, Newt finds more of his creatures, and Tina joins in, even though she's really not supposed to be, and she eventually tries to get them arrested by bringing them in and dumping them in front of the entire MACUSA, and saying, "These guys brought monsters in!" while providing no evidence of that.
I forget if there was some evidence.
So
somewhere.
they sentenced them to death.
Well, because they believe one of his beasts killed a senator, apparently.
Oh yeah, that guy on the stage.
Yeah, that guy. That was the guy. Okay, anyway, so the sentence to death with, like, no trial that I recall, really.
Yeah, no.
It was like, you're gonna go to this room and die now.
Yeah, that's a summary execution, which, last time I checked, you can't really do if you use United States of America in your name, because we have laws against that exact thing.
Yeah, well, magic laws, all that old business.
And apparently what they do is the creepiest method of execution possible. They put you on this chair in the middle of this potion, they extract some of your happy memories, and then they put the memories in the pool, and that hypnotizes you into wanting to go into the pool, which will dissolve your entire body.
Yeah, why the hell would you want this whole Rube Goldberg system when you could just kill them?
Yeah, dude, just give me an axe and I will kill them.
Well, just throw them into the evil pool.
Like Avada Kedavra, right to the
gravity,
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Ooh, doesn't that look good?" And I'm like, "You people are fucked up."
Yeah.
But thank God, Newt got his suitcase back somehow, and he uses his magical creatures to save Tina from the pool of needlessly complex death.
That sounds like an interesting book title. Tina and the Pool of Needlessly Complex Death.
Yeah, dude, if you want a pool-based death, tie some weights to her and drop her in the pool, and then don't let her back up.
That would be
At least
effective.
it would have something to do with the Salem trials, which at least is magical history in the United States. And then Percy goes to find Credence, and he thinks that the girl is the Obscurial, but then he starts getting really mad that the girl isn't the Obscurial, and he starts hitting Credence, and then Credence freaks out, and it turns out he's the Obscurial all along. So congratulations, dude. You were pissing off Satan.
Yeah. I like to think of this as the sort of the alternate track for Harry. Because Harry was surrounded by bad people. Not as bad as Mary Lou, but still, bad family. And thankfully gets rescued from that and ends up having a wonderful life. But then it's like, alright, if we took that to a darker round, the equivalent of Harry, who's got magic powers in a family that isn't so keen on that, ends up just going nuts with self-hatred, and it's horrible and destructive, and
it blows up New York.
Blows stuff up. So don't suppress your true self, kids. It's bad for everyone.
Yeah, although some people have put in some interesting theories. Specifically that Ariana Dumbledore, Dumbledore's little sister, did suppress her magic through one means or another, and in the final battle, something happened in the first battle between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, something happened and Ariana died. People have speculated that Ariana was actually an Obscurial.
Oh.
And that's why Grindelwald is so interested in Obscurials now, because he saw one before.
Okay.
Also, they've asked J.K. about why didn't Harry turn into an Obscurial when his relatives treated him as bad, if not worse, than Credence was treated. To which he said, you have to know your magic and know that's the part of you that you have to be willingly suppressing your magic. That's what creates Obscurials. So the fact that Harry didn't know what magic was or why his relatives hated him saved him from turning into Obscurial, which sounds weak to me.
I mean, I would just put it on Credence was a little older and therefore had gone through more years of the suppression, and his parents were more viciously against it than even the Dursleys could manage. So
Yeah, but they have an 8-year-old girl. The Obscuro that's seen inside of the box is from an 8-year-old girl, so...
I don't know. Yeah, it's actually pretty weird that Harry comes out of his time with the Dursleys with so much mental health intact. Like, honestly, being raised with people who are just jerks to you 24/7, like, we never see a good side to the Dursleys, that is going to mess with your brain, man. That is going to take time to recover. And he's going to be freaking pissed at Dumbledore for consciously putting him in that household. Like, there's this whole deal they try to make it, they try to explain it later, like, oh, he needed to live with relatives because there's, like, some ancient magic that'll protect him until he's 17 if he lives with blood relatives.
Move him to Sweden!
Does he have blood relatives in Sweden?
No, but, well, not that I know of, but you know who doesn't know that Harry Potter will be moved to Sweden? Anyone who wants to hurt him!
Oh, yeah, that's important. Also, though, I was going to say,
you know where else is really hard for Death Eaters to get to? Brazil!
Brazil has a natural aura that sends Death Eaters away.
Yeah, but if you were told...
It's the samba beat. Everyone's just dancing in some dark spirits.
Yeah, but if you were told, you know, okay, they moved the chosen one of our world from a suburb of London, and we don't know where he is, would you guess Brazil as an option?
No, I would not guess Brazil. But
See?
I was also going to say, though, like, okay, so they never get around to telling us the parameters of this. Like, we know once in a while Harry hangs out with that weird cat lady down the street, right? When, like, the rest of the Dursleys go on vacation. Which ends up being, like, she's working for Dumbledore. Mm-hmm. But, like, okay, wait. So he can get away for a few hours and the ancient magic is still kicking in. Also, he can go to Hogwarts 9 months out of the year and the ancient magic still kicks in. So, how many days per year exactly? What physical radius from the Dursleys does it need to be? I'll have him set up with a magic family the next house over that's still within like 100-yard radius or whatever the hell this thing has effect under. And he can grow up with those nice people and the Dursleys can just live over there.
See, I think the problem is that he has to consider that he has a home at the Dursleys' house. Which, if we go by any sort of real-world logic, Harry would have stopped considering that a home when he was 5.
Yeah, it's more like a prison to him.
Yeah, which he openly says, and Vernon doesn't help when he puts bars on the window.
Yeah, seriously, this is seriously abusive stuff. And Harry, like, somehow comes out of it, you know, pretty cheery and, you know, happy
a little
shy, but he's cool. He manages to catch a snitch in his first game and save the world, kind of, and, well, save whatever. Do a lot of cool stuff.
Jesus Christ, Worm had it so that Taylor Hebert triggered the worst moment of her life due to bullying for a year and a half. Harry went for 12 years of that. And, you know, he's just fine. What did Taylor do? Oh, yeah, she killed God.
Yeah, that's a whole long story there.
A giant space worm, but still.
Yeah, and he has to deal with having lost his parents, which granted he never really knew them, but like there's another element in the background there, knowing your parents died.
That's another thing that pissed me off. How come Harry is so determined to know everything about his parents when he never knew them?
Well, that's common enough though. To people, they want to know their blood parents even if they didn't personally know them. That's
okay, but
people get curious.
Yeah, but for some people, for him it's kind of an obsession at points. And this is okay. You could grant that if he doesn't feel at home at the Dursleys,
that would be the important factor.
Yeah, but that should have become obvious to anyone with the slightest degree of cognitive reasoning that Harry is not safe at the Dursleys. So why is he still there, and why can't we just move him to some house where we have huge guys with guns?
I would like to see a Harry Potter fanfic, alternate fic, where he just runs away from the Dursleys at a young age. And his, like, Hogwarts letter comes in later, and he's like, living with someone else, damn it.
Okay, I have seen one or two like that, actually.
Yeah, okay.
One was actually kind of good, where he's just basically living in an old factory with some other runaway kids. And, like, no one's found him yet, so that's fun. The other is that he watches Doctor Who and assumes, I'm magic, I must be the Doctor! So he travels around the world teleporting from place to place and doing good stuff.
Ah, good for you, Harry.
And then it ends with him refusing to kill Voldemort, instead cracking a time turner over Voldemort's head and turning him into a child, and then taking Voldemort as his companion. I mean, it makes no goddamn sense. but it's still somehow one of the best fics I've ever read.
That's lovely.
Yeah, okay, mind you, that was also followed by another story that a similar author wrote where Harry's worst fear was a weeping angel, which means that remember what happens when you encounter a Bogart.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
it turns bad. It turns bad really fast.
Ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't work because since it took the form of an angel, it becomes an angel.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Credence starts blowing up New York, and Percy is like, dude, this is beautiful and stuff. And everyone's like, what is wrong with you? This is not beautiful. This is killing people. And eventually there's a showdown on the subway where Newt tries to talk things out with Credence, make him, a little easier and, a little nicer. Yeah. And I'm skipping a whole bunch of points just to get to the end here because it's like, okay, so we're going to calm him down. Then MACUSA bursts in and is like, okay, then Percy bursts in. He's like, no, you must obey me because I was nice to you, even though I started bitch slapping you once you weren't of use to me anymore. So Credence starts freaking out again. MACUSA storms in and starts blasting the shit out of him. And Credence dies.
Oh no, poor Credence.
Here's my question: why didn't they use Avada Kedavra there?
Because they were trying not to kill people. What do you mean?
No. Why, if MACUSA were just going to blast Credence into oblivion, why didn't they use Avada Kedavra on the monster that is increasingly dangerous?
They hoped they could restrain him somehow? I don't know.
No, they just started machine gun blasting him and didn't stop until he exploded.
Okay. Maybe they were blasting him with something they hoped would be non-lethal and it ended up being lethal. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like tasering someone. Except, when first taser doesn't work, you just keep doing it about 1,000 more times. That'll work. Or kill them.
By the way, Avada Kedavra is another one of those ultimate spells that, oh wait, there's a loophole because the whole premise of the book is Harry surviving that spell.
Okay, yes. Admittedly, yes.
And you can throw off the Imperious Curse if you spend enough time on it. Or have enough willpower.
Yeah. Wait, so no one in Britain has enough willpower because Harry's the only one we see doing it?
Well, we had one other guy throw it off. Remember, was it
Yeah, but he went insane doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, this 12-year-old kid is stronger mentally than
I'm going to call that plot armor, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then plot wrap-up, turns out that Percy was actually Grindelwald under, some illusions, and it turns out that the guy was actually Johnny Depp the whole time.
Oh my gosh, he was Johnny Depp the whole time.
It feels like a massive waste of Johnny Depp's character. And furthermore, anyone who knows the books knows that this is not going to be the end of Grindelwald, because Grindelwald hasn't had his climactic final duel with Albus Dumbledore in the 1940s.
Yeah, the whole World War II.
Yeah, so
thing.
this is 20 years too early. It's like, well, we finally captured the monster in the first act. I'm sure he won't escape.
Well, we're gonna find out how he escapes in the next movie coming soon.
Yeah, and then, but oh no, everyone in New York found out about this because somehow you can't cover up the fact that an invisible monster blew up the city. So they're just ignoring all of the dead people who are dead now, and they dump water.
So the Thunderbird is Newt's original mission, a big old bird thing that he wants to bring out to Utah or someplace.
Hey, wait, if the bird can fly from Utah to here, why didn't he just release it at the docks and then just go back home to England?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, Newt reveals that this one creature that he has the ability to erase memories. So just get some fluid from that, dump it into a thunderstorm, and bam! Instant amnesia for everyone.
That's convenient. But they basically they gave themselves the permission slip to that when they showed you the Thunderbird earlier, and it's is really grand and majestic. And therefore, when we needed to pull off a Deus Ex Machina later on, it's cool because we established it was grand and majestic. And you're like,
plus, it was
okay, movie, here we go.
Plus, it was established earlier that the MACUSA did not like magical creatures, saying that it was illegal to own them or to trade in them. So, thankfully, Newt proved them wrong. Magical creatures are useful. So, glad you proved him wrong, Newt, except that history has told us that if someone finds that a creature is valuable for some reason, they don't stop the rules saying don't kill them. It's kill them so we can take their parts and hunt them to extinction.
That has some basis in reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go, Newt. You've probably just doomed a whole bunch of species to extinction.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Although, given the creature it comes from is called the Brain Eater, I'm okay with that thing being driven to extinction.
Yes. That's with all the mind control in this movie.
Yeah. So, Jacob gets his mind wiped, and his creepy mind rapist pseudo-girlfriend kisses him goodbye, and then he walks off. Except now Newt slipped him a bunch of eggs that are made of silver, and,
So now he gets to fund his bakery.
yeah, like, he won't quite... You know, I guess this is a world where just the police don't exist, except that they do, because no one would question, hey, remember that guy that came in here and didn't have a penny to his name, and suddenly he has a vast amount of silver to fund it? To fund his bakery?
It's possible he got an inheritance or something, but yeah.
So, yeah, no one would investigate how he got his hands on silver eggs.
Frankly, unless someone is making a complaint that their silver eggs were stolen last week, the cops probably have other things to do.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's like the... the IRS would probably be interested in knowing how he got this.
They might, yeah.
But it looks like he sort of remembers, and then his mind rapist girlfriend shows up, and they smile at each other, so therefore it's all okay. The end.
Yeah, I don't know how to judge.
Look, it's an okay film, but it's just... The most interesting part of it for me was the stuff with Percy and Credence. Honestly, that feels like it could have been its own movie all on its own.
Yeah, that could have been.
The rest of it was just
they had to send in... Come to think of it, yeah, without Newt in there at all, and Kowalski, and Tina, and Queenie, you could have had a whole movie just between Percy and Mary Lou and Credence.
Actually, they kind of hurt the movie. You could have removed all of those characters, and nothing would change.
I mean, those characters were fun, but it felt like she had in terms of a story, in terms of not just fun moments, but in terms of a story, the more interesting story idea was the Obscurus. And somehow or other, she had to involve some fantastic beasts, because that's the title. So, those people are here too. And they're fun, but they're not really directly tied in with the Obscurus plot, if you think about it.
No.
I mean, they happen to be there, but it's not like, oh, yeah, that's my, cousin or something, and I have a personal investment in this.
Yeah.
It's more like, this kid also happens to be in New York.
I mean, if Newt had never gone to New York, Kowalski still would have gotten rejected from the bakery. Tina probably would have still gotten fired for one excuse or another. But Percy and Credence still would have been interacting. Nothing that the main characters did would have affected the actions of Mary Lou or her creepy daughter or Credence or Percy.
So eventually, probably let's assume Credence's Obscurus comes out and he does the destructive bit, and then gets gunned down by Makusa. And then the Wizarding World has been revealed to everyone. That was basically Newt's contribution, was mind wiping everyone at the end.
Yeah,
that was what he accomplished in this movie.
Yeah,
aside from saving that one bird, but getting a bakery founded.
Yes,
this is the story of a man who founded a bakery and saved a bird, and mind wiped a bunch of people so that the wizards can still be secret. That is what we accomplished in this movie.
That's not great.
It's a little odd. It's a little odd. Now, granted, a movie that was just Percy and Credence would have been pretty dang dark. But still a lot of good material there if you wanted to work with it.
Yeah, that's a great... Just, I don't know. I felt like they didn't have as much light. Okay, no. The rest of it felt like it was like this was a backdoor pilot to a TV show where Newt acts like Steve Irwin to magical creatures.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Which is a fine story. It's just that it doesn't fit in with the Obscurial plot, which frankly has more weight to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good seeing how Americans do things in the Harry Potter universe. I'm definite. And the next movie, we're supposed to get stuff from France, which, I mean, admittedly, we've heard about what they do in France a little bit with the Beauxbaton stuff and with Fleur Delacour, but you know what? I'm all for world building.
I am too. Maybe they'll establish more than one school in America.
Yeah.
Oh well. So still fun. We'll be seeing the next one. I will be seeing.
I'll be seeing the next one
right,
too.
Cool. Then
I'll
we'll
go
both see it. Great. I'll be out soon.
Yep.
That's about it.
I guess that's everything. So, anyways, I'm Sith King.
I'm Sogsons.
Signing off.